Now, it seems like Manchester United's fairy tale story ended after Alex Ferguson retired. Now, I don't just say that because of the lack of silverware thereafter, but their ugly separations with players and managers that have become headlines more than the wins themselves. It was either legends like Cristiano Ronaldo leaving after a fallout with the manager, or the manager himself being booted out. And the latest chapter of this ugly story now, of course, is that the management removing interim manager Ruud Van Nistelrooy, despite United being unbeaten in the 4 matches that Van Nistelrooy managed. The club went ahead and appointed Ruben Amorim as the head coach, something even Van Nistelrooy admitted he had been expecting. But what, of course, shocked the former United player was the fact that even his assistant manager contract was terminated.
The only job I would take as an assistant was at United because of the bond that I have with the people in the club and the fans. I was disappointed. Yeah, very much so. And it hurt that I had to leave.
Those words definitely sting. As a player, Ruud Van Nistelrooy was part of a United era that dominated English Premier League, an era where he was loved by fans. Even during his spell, first as assistant manager and then, of course, as interim manager, the Dutchman was clearly in his groove. We now see this separation wasn't something Van Nistelrooy saw coming. But it had to happen as current coach Ruben Amorim felt Nistelrooy didn't feature in his plans or his vision.
I spoke to Ruben Amorim about it. The conversation was grateful, man to man, manager to manager. And that helped a lot to move on and straight away get into talks with new possibilities, which lifted my spirits.
Of course, following his exit from United, Nistelrooy's rebound job wasn't too far away, just 105 miles over at the city of Leicester. He has taken up a difficult road managing a struggling Leicester City, a side that till Nistelrooy hadn't won their last 6 matches. But call it a winning habit or just the momentum, whatever it was, Van Nistelrooy made an immediate impact with that club and won his first game in charge 3-1 against West Ham.
I had a meeting with the players, and it was the first thing to address the situation that we're in and the challenge that we're facing and what's necessary to get out of that situation where we're in. Obviously, with the run of results over the last weeks and the Brentford game, it's up to reacting and clarity about how we're going to do things. And of course, in 2 days, it's difficult to make a lot of changes. But as a staff, we started to make the changes that we think are necessary in the style of play and in the training sessions and in the structure of the team, but little by little, it's time to build a foundation of a highly motivated, fit team that can compete in this difficult league.
So yes, there was heartbreak, and seems like Nistelrooy is doing his best to move on from that chapter. But the hurt clearly runs deep, especially after being pushed out from a club that has meant everything to him. And he's trying to channelize that hurt clearly into hunger, with Leicester City showing the effects of the Nistelrooy way. Now, while it has done justice to Van Nistelrooy's caliber, as now he's full-time manager, it does make us wonder, did United miss a trick here, make a huge blunder by letting the Dutchman go? Sure, Ruben Amorim is a great manager. He's proved that. And in the 3 matches, he has remained unbeaten at the helm at Manchester United. But would Van Nistelrooy's inclusion have smoothed the transition? And I'm not talking numbers here. In his short stint as manager, Ruud Van Nistelrooy made a difference. And that has a lot to do with the passion that he has had for the club. Van Nistelrooy was somebody who was attached to the club. He was willing to take an assistant manager job for it. He left his family in Netherlands to do this. So more than the stats, though that's important too, more than the style of play, they needed someone who felt more for the club. And that person was Ruud Van Nistelrooy, a sentiment that resonated with the best in the business. And here's the thing, United have tried every big name, attracted star players as well. They finally had an assistant manager who was willing to go that extra mile for them. And it just feels like that's been snapped before it could gain the necessary momentum. Now, of course, the hopes lie in trusting Amorim to bring in that culture that Nistelrooy instilled during his minor stay. It'll be interesting to see United take on Leicester again, and that's still a while away though. It's in March next year. But Amorim will want to prove a point or two when they two clash, and of course leading the charge for Leicester City to avenge that 3-0 loss would be a hurt Manchester United X.